Hey, I'm Ben Coons, owner of Keystone Bookkeepers. Today, we're talking about something most STR property managers know they should look at, but keep putting it off: your management fee structure. Specifically, how to tell if what you're charging is too low, what the benchmarks actually look like at different portfolio sizes, and how to have that conversation with existing homeowners when it's time to make a change. I have this conversation with operators almost every month, and the pattern is almost always the same. The portfolio has grown significantly, the complexity has multiplied, the workload has increased, and the fees haven't moved since those early days. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to evaluate whether your current fees are working for your business and what to do if they're not. So let's get into it. First, why do fees go stale? Most property managers set their fees early. They're trying to win their first homeowners, they price to be competitive, and they may make commitments that feel reasonable at the time, but as every business owner knows, you'll make concessions to get those first few clients that you would never make now. I personally know this from experience. Every now and then I'll look back at our original contracts and I'll cringe a little bit. As you know, the business grows. More properties, more homeowners, more complexity. You need more team members to run that operation properly. Your tech stack gets bigger. The workload is growing, but those fees, again, are staying the same. And here's the thing. Your management fee is not just compensation for filling calendars. It covers everything you do to run that property professionally. Trust accounting, owner reporting, maintenance coordination, vendor management, compliance, guest communications, technology, pricing. At 5 properties, a 15% fee might cover all of that overhead adequately. At 30 properties with multiple ownership structures, complex trust accounting, and a team to manage, it almost certainly does not. Maybe you've had some commission carve-outs that are hurting you, or you didn't charge a tech fee early on and then just never got around to it. Or maybe your cleaners are costing more than what you're charging guests and you're eating the difference. Or maybe you don't have a penalty if your homeowner is taking half your nights every month. The operators who figure this out too late are the ones burning out, working harder than those numbers justify, and running a business that looks successful from the outside but feels unsustainable from the inside. So if we look at benchmarks, STR management fees vary by market, property type, and service level. But here's a general framework. Full service property management, typically 20 to 30% of gross revenue. This is going to cover everything: guest communication, maintenance coordination, owner reporting, trust accounting, compliance, the works. What we call mid-tier management, typically in that 15% to 20%. Most services are included, but it might exclude some add-ons like vacation tax filing, or maybe the market is really geared at those midterm renters with lower turnover volume. Then we've got that lightweight or remote management in the 10 to 15% range, usually for simpler portfolios where the owners are going to handle more themselves. Here, a manager might just be handling guest communications and revenue management. The problem is, I see managers in that 10 to 15% range, what is effectively a full service operation. They're doing the owner reporting, the trust accounting, the maintenance coordination, compliance, and everything else. And really, they're charging as if they were the lightweight remote operation. You can sign up as many homeowners as you want, but you're always going to be chasing profitability until you fix that underlying issue. So here's a simple exercise worth doing this week. Write down every service you provide to homeowners, every task, every system, every hour of team time that goes into managing a property on their behalf. No detail is too small here. Include things like we're sending them the receipts for every expense that we purchase on their behalf. Then ask yourself honestly, does your current fee reflect the value of all that? If the answer is no, you might need to adjust your fees. Here are the clear signs that your management fees are not keeping pace with your operation. Your margins are shrinking as you grow. This shouldn't happen, with a few exceptions, like when you hire that new headcount in order to get to your next revenue level. But otherwise, as you scale, your systems should create efficiency and your margins should hold steady or improve. If adding properties is making your business less profitable per door, your fees are not covering the cost of the services you're delivering. At that point, you're really competing on price instead of value. If your primary pitch to new homeowners is you're cheaper than the other options, that's really a positioning problem. The best operators compete on results, reporting quality, and trust, not price. Another sign, you haven't raised fees in more than 2 years. Costs go up, team costs go up, technology costs goes up. Those software costs are not getting any cheaper. If your fees haven't moved in 2 years while everything else has, you're also absorbing those increases yourself. Now, obviously, base rent increases will increase your management fees, but it's still worth doing a gut check to make sure that you're not losing margin in other places. Another sign is your team is stretched and you can't afford to fix it. If you know you need another team member, but the numbers don't support hiring, that's often a fee problem, not just a growth problem. Another sign, you're regularly going above and beyond without charging for it. Extra reporting, extra owner communication, services that aren't in the agreement. If you're consistently delivering more than what your fee covers, that's value you're giving away every single month. I see this with managers who oversee large-scale renovations or projects for homeowners. You should be charging a separate general contract or project management fee for this, especially since you're probably not making any commission while those renovations are happening. Another example is vacation tax reporting. Avalara charges $30 to $40 per property per month for this. If you're including this in your base commission rate, you're probably leaving money on the table. So here's a practical 3-step framework for evaluating whether your fees are right. First, calculate your true cost per door. Take your total operating cost, team, technology, overhead, and divide that by the number of properties you manage. That's going to be your cost per door. Now look at your average revenue per door at your current fee. Do this for the past few months and look at those trends. If the gap between your revenue per door and cost per door is shrinking as you grow, your fees might need attention. Step 2, audit your service delivery against your fee. List every service you provide. Assign an estimated time or cost to each one and add that up. Does your current fee cover what it actually costs you to deliver your service? If not, what's that gap? Third, most importantly, check your market. Research what comparable operators in your market are charging for similar service levels. Do some secret shopper, have a friend, call a property manager in the area, see what they charge for rates, see what they include, see what they cover, what their service level is. You don't need to be the most expensive in the market, but you shouldn't be leaving significant money on the table relative to operators if you're delivering a similar or better product. If you go through all 3 steps and the data shows that yes, your fees are too low, next question is what to do about it. This is the part that most operators dread. How do you raise fees without losing homeowners? I'll talk in a second about how to do it with existing homeowners, but let's start with the easiest homeowner, your next one. The next homeowner you sign doesn't have any preconceived notions or biases about fee structure. This is your chance to reset expectations and fairly charge for the value you bring. Signing a few clients at your new rates gives you the confidence and market validation that this is fair. It also can give you the opportunity to drop that painful homeowner that maybe is below market and you don't want to continue working with. So then, and only then, would I recommend moving to those existing homeowners. First rule of thumb here, give plenty of notice. Never surprise an owner with a fee increase. Communicate that at least 60 days in advance, ideally 90, and of course look at your contract. You want to give them time to process it and ask questions before the change takes effect. Frame it around value, not cost. Don't open the conversation with we're raising our fees. Open with everything you've built, everything you've improved, and what you're continuing to invest in. The fee increase is the last point, not the first. Something like, as we've grown our team and invested in better systems and reporting over the past year, we're updating our structure to reflect the level of service we deliver. Here's what that means for you specifically. The more data you can bring, the better. Show them what rents would be, and more importantly, what they would be making if they were self-managing or using another operator. That's the key. Yes, I'm charging more, but you, the homeowner, are still coming out ahead compared to the alternatives. Be specific about what they're getting. If you've improved your owner reporting, added a new service, invested in new technology, or built better processes, tell them. Connect the fee increase directly to the value. Owners who understand what they're paying for are more likely to accept a reasonable increase. Of course, you always want to honor those existing agreements. If an owner has a fixed term management agreement, honor that, raise the fees at renewal. Operators who respect their commitments build that kind of trust that will survive that conversation. Of course, expect some pushback and handle it calmly. Some of those homeowners will push back. That's normal. Have the conversation, listen to their concerns. If the concern is legitimate, address it. If it's just a resistance to change, you can stand firm, professionally, and respectfully. Remember, you're bringing in new homeowners at those new fees. This is going to give you the confidence to stand firm there. Those owners who leave over a reasonable and well-communicated increase are almost never the owners you want to build your long-term business around. So let's wrap this up. If you've not reviewed your management fee structure in the last 12 months, do it this week. Calculate your true cost per door. Audit your service delivery against your current fee. Check your market and ask yourself honestly, is what I'm charging reflecting the value of what I actually deliver? If the answer is no, now you've got a framework to fix that. And if you want help thinking through your fee structure or understanding how it connects to your bookkeeping and owner reporting, reach out to us at keystonebookkeepers.com. We work with STR operators on this exact kind of financial clarity every day. Hit the like button if this was useful, and subscribe for more practical finance content every week. See you in the next one.